Okay, when did you move to the farm then? Was that after the Hardy house?
No, we were living in Williston, southeast of Williston.
That's the farm she's talking about. The
For-
first farm we went to.
I would say, how long were we there? From the
Half a
spring
year.
till,
Half a
From
year.
April to
More than-
January. April to January.
Where was
till
this?
December.
Where was this farm at?
We flew right after New Year.
When we moved in Williston,
18 miles southeast of Williston.
Is that kind of close to where? To,
Uncle
Spanish
John.
Point, that's the Spanish Point area there.
That's the lake area out there.
mhm.
kind of
Yes.
close to Epping, that direction?
right between Williston and Epping, you
About
know.
18 miles.
Dow, was
No,
that
maybe
the name of it?
12.
Huh?
12.
Dow?
12 miles.
Mhm.
Was-
Well, Wilmot's address is Epping, and that's out
That's
there.
where it was.
Mhm.
Why did you go there?
Uncle wanted us, I think. Isn't that right?
Yeah, he was farming there close.
Yeah.
And we wanted to try farming.
Oh, we better not tell the story because Elsie's Wilmot.
No, we don't want to say
No,
that.
no,
There because
no.
it could get out.
Yeah, that.
Mm.
Yeah,
You
we
mean
don't wanna say
Uncle John was farming, he had left the coal mine and he was farming over there too at that
Mhm.
Right.
time?
Yeah.
Only he went ahead of us, you know,
Uh-huh.
but he,
Oh, there's nothing wrong with saying that. I mean, there's nothing to hurt nobody's feelings.
but
We wanted to try farming up there,
Yeah.
and we tried it, the crop would not come up, we didn't get no rain, and we got out of there that
Yeah.
winter.
I think I heard something from Mother about Grandpa couldn't grow any potatoes there. Was that it?
he
Well,
was,
everything was so
He
dry,
couldn't grow potatoes
nothing.
there?
Well, there's more
Yeah, that's why
involved
we-
with that than anything.
Why you left there?
That's a part we don't want to put in there.
Well, I don't know nothing about that.
Yeah,
That's
well,
all that I
Yeah,
know.
no, at that part we leave out because it might hurt.
No,
If they ever got to.
No,
Got
no,
hold of that,
just,
you
just
know.
that part, like, I,
All right, the first year we came here, we didn't work beets. And after that, we put in practically every year, working beets. I think I worked beets till I was 19 years old. I got here about 10. So when I was 10 years old, I didn't work beets, but after that was every year.
And
so,
who-
was the
and who-
rest, so was the rest of the family.
I didn't know we worked that long, did we, in a beets?
I was working beets till I got married, and I was 19 years.
we worked all.
So,
the
so
beets after that.
Lizzie,
And then we worked
Lizzie,
at that-
during these 8 or 9 years, do you remember different people you worked for during those years?
Well, we worked for Johnson's when we were on the farm.
What
And then we
Johnson?
did
Yeah.
Kirk
What
Owens beets.
Johnson?
Herman Johnson.
Herman Johnson.
Our neighbor
Uh-huh.
there.
Oh, yes. Boy, the
What about Bourbon Johnson?
I remember, I think we did 2 years out there, huh? And the 1 year, for the third time, when we did blocking, and then we hoed, and then we cleaned up, and then you went over in August, we went again, but we had to pull them out the weeds by hand. So Herman Johnson had us all carry a gunny sack and put all those grasses in that gunny sack, yeah. And that got past go. And after that, we wouldn't work for him anymore, but we did it. But that's what it is. Oh, Pa was bad, but we did it.
Who are some of the other people then you worked for?
In other words, we didn't do such a good job, did we?
Oh, yes, we did a wonderful job, but he didn't want us seeds to spill.
So
Huh?
Lizzie,
Did you ever see a field that didn't have any weeds after the first hoeing? Or whatever
That's
you
why
say,
we moved the
weeding,
second
yeah.
time.
That's what, at that time, everybody had to do it. You remember, Lloyd?
should put a little powder
I
in
don't
it.
think so.
In August, you had to go out with one hand and held the sack with the
Exactly.
other. Just every time we had to straighten out.
That must have been the third time over, huh?
Well, yeah, you blocked them and then you went over
and then the
over,
third time.
and the third time
How
you
come
pulled
we
them out.
stayed friends with him if Pa was so mad?
They were nice people.
So who else did you do beats for besides the Johnsons?
Kirk Owen.
You should
What?
tell them that one time
you
when you
put down
buried that one
ditches
beet while we were
when-
stopping it, and then you buried there's a beet, Herman, he brought it around, and you 2 or 3 times, and you always didn't want to top it.
Oh,
You
yeah.
buried it one time, and
Oh,
what
yeah.
happened?
Yeah. Yeah, so we had it one time.
Yeah.
So I found it again. And I think I picked it up and brought it to those guys and looked at them and dropped them right in front of their feet. Turned them
Aw.
After that, it was never followed.
You told me one time, he always brought them back to you and you buried that. And darn it, Herman found it out even after you buried that one there. He
Uh-huh.
found it again and brought it up there.
Yeah, so
Till
I
he
brought it
topped
back.
once more.
So I
Yeah.
brought it right back to him.
Yeah,
I remember
after
that.
it was buried,
Yeah.
after he
Mhm.
got it out.
So after that, that beat didn't follow us. But that beat followed us for about 2 or 3 days, huh?
I don't know.
You deliberately threw it up there, wasn't it? First
No,
of all,
it wasn't
so he would
compact. There
find-
was a
Yeah, I
few.
know, but there was one beat, and you deliberately threw it in there so he could see it. And then he'd always come back until he felt silly about it.
Oh, well,
That's the way I understood it.
Funny, I don't remember.
that
I'm
was at
the
Herman
oldest.
Johnson's, huh?
Yeah.
So
What
this,
about coal? Didn't we work
you
with
guys
coal?
were working in the
What?
topping the beets too,
cow.
not just only
Did we work
thinning
with
them, is
cow?
that what you mean?
but that-
Yeah,
I
that
think
was
we
a
topped two.
that was between
What
Fairview
about
and Dort.
What about mohair? Did we work with that?
Yeah.
Morehair, sure we worked for
Yeah,
John
and
Morehair.
cows too. I
Cows.
forgot about that.
Yeah, cows,
Yeah.
that's sure.
hmm That was, I think it ended up one of the Riedel farms or the Hooder farms, wasn't it?
Yeah, Hooters on it
the-
now.
The Hooder.
Uh-huh.
That is the one nearest to Dort, that Hooder farm.
That one near the track there, well, that must have been on the Lidl, if you say.
Uh-huh. No, it was on the right side of the road, going
Was
to
that on the
Dort.
right side of the road?
Mhm. It was real rough country out there, real rough fields. Nothing was level at that time out there.
So you helped
For
farm,
Ditton, did you get that? For Ditton we worked.
Yeah.
Ditton, Morehair.
First year, we started out for Ditton.
And we worked till 19, huh?
And then the second year was for
No.
Morehair, and then must have been for cows, huh?
I think it was then Johnson.
So that must have been 27, 28, 29.
29 we moved
No.
over.
So did you work thinning too, or were you just in the harvest or in everything to do with the beets?
What?
In everything and that
Did you
time,
work
weren't we?
thinning beets, weeding beets, harvesting beets, the whole works?
Mhm.
Yeah, we did that. Uh-huh.
No, see, Lizzie, it's in 27 and 28 we worked.
Yeah, so we must have worked the cows before we were doing one of the other.
While we was working with Morehair, I
We-
remember that,
And
yeah.
we also done shot.
That was with Young,
didn't
we
we?
split the work with Young, Frank Young.
But that was after, with Tindham, I believe was after the 4th of July, I remember that.
Uh-huh, I don't remember. I
It was
remember.
after most of them was done, otherwise we wouldn't have.
Mhm.
Okay, so how long were you on the North Dakota place then when you decided to go farming by Williston? 1 year?
No.
9 months or so. 9 months maybe, or
Yeah.
8 months.
Well, so we got there for the spring planting,
Mm-hmm.
and we moved away on between Christmas and New Year in, I believe it was 1930, in the 1930. So Pa bought that place there at the end of 1929.
From Bert Chase,
From
Bert
Bert
Chase.
Chase.
For $5,000.
3,000.
No, I don't think, I
3,000.
think it was about
5,000, maybe took from some cattle,
3,000.
machinery and everything.
Was
I
that
think 3,000.
600,
No,
I
it was 5,000, I remember
But
that.
Okay,
they had a big
And
cattle, machinery,
think. Maybe it was
because we
that.
took everything.
From Bert Chase?
Yeah.
I thought we moved it from the Dow farm.
Yeah, we
We
did.
never had nothing in the Dow farm, did
We
we?
We had 3 cows.
We did?
Yeah, but that
But
spot, that spotty that Lizzie used to milk here, that wasn't from Dow, that was with that place, we bought that
Yeah.
with that place.
I
Yeah,
thought it was,
Yeah.
That
And
was that
spot,
Holstein.
that spot that we used to have, that steer, that was her calf.
we had 2 cows from them.
And
We
then
had that,
Pete, that Baldus, that cow that Pete Baldus used to have, that we
Uh-huh.
had that too.
and then we had that Holstein cow, and then
Yeah, that was
then
true.
Bert, then Chase had a cow all by himself out there that stayed on the place that I milked for him. That was a younger one.
Yeah.
That was a young one up there.
no, I thought we moved him from the North Dakota farm.
We had some cows, but there was some in there, when with that farm, there was some there too.
Well, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pa bought it in 29.
At the end of 29, because I still have the, I think at home, the original,
Contract?
yeah.
And we were supposed to pay $1,000 each year.
For
But
what?
it took us, we would have paid for it in 5 years, but we paid for it in 6, wasn't that right?
I don't remember how long it took us to pay it.
6 years.
Yeah. the-
$1,000 a year. I don't know whether there's any interest connected with it or not. I
We
don't
wound
think
up with the
so.
Federal Land Bank.
Yeah.
We wound up with got borrowed it at the end from the Federal Land Bank to finish it.
That was mostly so we get a good clear title of it,
Yeah.
as I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Paul was smart.
Yeah.
In order to get a good title, he borrowed money.
Well, I think Frank Young used to say that if we're not careful, that
Bird chase?
would, would
You
try
never
to
know,
get the
you
far
know, yeah,
back,
a person
trying
didn't know
to
the
get it
people are
back or
not gonna-
something like
To
that.
make sure that you get a good clear title, you,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the federal land bank, they'd see to that it would be a good title before they borrow you any money.
Yeah.
Was that land all irrigated when you bought it?
No,
Yeah.
No,
No.
no.
no, it
It
took
was all
about,
irrigated, but it wasn't cleared yet. It was
No,
trees.
No,
It
it,
was
it
also-
had never been irrigated. We
It's
had
never-
built the ditches. And
And
Carl and I built that over there.
Okay.
and
Remember?
Yeah, but
What was
what
it
about
now?
on the other side, on the,
Pa wanted to
No,
put
what
the
side?
irrigation
No, no.
in,
No
but
water.
Bird chase was against it.
Yeah.
But Pa went and had it done anyway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
So,
Yeah, and I remember we had fences out there, they were all rotten up there, and our cows got out all the time, out there, but we started fixing them up, and then Kirkhope, he came up there and he said, "Those is my fence, you have no business messing around with them." And so Pa got so mad, he said he took one of those posts up there, he says he called this here a fence, and he lifted up that post, and about 20 feet each side, all those posts came up. And that guy looked this way and looked that way up there, and he said nothing.
what else, what kind of animals did you have on the farm then, when you moved?
when did we raise our turkeys? Was it the first and second year?
Every
Yeah,
year,
yeah,
every year.
Yeah,
About 500 a year we raised turkeys.
300 wasn't it?
300.
5, I thought.
300.
I think we had an incubator for
Mhm.
300 turkey in there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, anyhow, we made our payments with that.
How come you got the turkeys to begin with?
Turkeys?
Uh-huh.
Well, see, we didn't have any irrigated land to get a crop.
We had those turkeys on the
Williston.
dow
And
place too.
Williston.
We came,
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Mhm.
I don't
And we had
remember
that incubator out there too. Yes, I remember that. We had turkeys and we locked them up because there were so many coyotes around. And especially afterwards, the barn was sitting on a bunch of rocks up there, and those coyotes were trying to dig under the rocks to get at those turkeys. I remember that. So that's why I remember we had turkeys.
Well,
Well, I
could be, I
remember,
don't remember that.
remember one year Ellen Starr used to be our neighbor at that time, and she wanted to trade the gobblers, and I got quite a kick out of it. She brought her gobblers along, and we had a kind of a mean rooster, and he beat the hell out of that gobbler. That gobbler just was afraid to be near that rooster.
I remember Mom telling too about how you herded them into the beet fields to get the webworms, the turkeys.
On the turkey,
Yeah.
And
But we didn't hurt them, they
Hurt
went
'em,
there
they done it
themselves.
Oh,
themselves.
they just went there, huh?
yeah.
They just went there. They made a march in the hills, and then they got where the high cliffs were. Down there when you go down the road. And from there on, they flew over the goose on the railroad. They flew over the road into the beet field. And the whole swarm, wasn't it?
Yeah, right.
I mean, that was quite a sight, because we didn't know whether they got hit by the train or it looked like they went right through. But they went over.
Yeah, I remember
A few
they-
of them was hit by train too.
Mhm.
A few of the turkeys was hit
And
by the train too.
Yeah, and I remember they had,
But
Dick
they were-
Kirkhope, and he had an oat field right beside our fence up there to the south of us, and we just couldn't keep those turkeys out of there. We just couldn't keep them out of there. So after that,
But
we
they
had to
went-
quit them. We quit after that,
We quit.
yeah.
But they went up in the hills to catch grasshoppers. That was what they're after. And then from there on, they had their route. They flew over from the cliff down to the army
Hill,
field.
it was a big hill.
How did you market
Big
them
deal.
then? You certainly didn't eat all those turkeys yourself.
No, we,
Sold them.
Sold in Chicago
We
in barrels.
put them in barrels. And there was no ice or
They
nothing.
was dry picked.
Some of them, I guess, they
That's
were
all they
sold,
done with
wasn't
them.
they?
Some of them were
Dry pick
sold,
them,
yeah.
put them right in the
The
barrel.
first year when we farmed, we planted the,
You
at
remember
that
that?
time,
Huh?
You
the
remember
crop
that
on the
too?
dry land.
No, but
And
I
we
know
didn't have
Rapid
enough
did.
rain to make it come
That-
up
that was
until
part of
August
the deal for
sometimes. When
some
the,
of
when
people.
the when the seed germinated in August, so of course, we couldn't raise a crop outside of a little bit pasture for cattle. And,
What's in the dirty 30s, huh?
When was the
Okay.
year we had, when it was so dry that we had to sell those cows? The government bought up the heifers up there for, I think they bought them
Wasn't
for
that
20.
in 33
I don't
or
remember
something?
that.
It's been 18 they had
They
for.
went out in the hills and shot them, the people from town, they shot them because, the government had paid us a few dollars. And I remember when we sent 2 cows up to St. Paul on railroad, and we were only paid $1.00 for them. They just paid for food.
No, so sometimes you're lucky you got freight, you sometimes
Uh-huh.
had a bill. You know,
How
that
did
bad.
we send them to St. Paul? Were
The
they,
railroad track.
yeah, but were they skinned?
No,
We're
live.
talking about cattle.
Live
live.
cows.
But the turkeys were dry picked?
Dressed.
Yeah, I
feathers.
And
they-
drawn?
Feathers was taken, but the inside was not taken out,
They were
just the
drawn.
feathers
Oh, they
and
were
blood.
not.
They had to be
You took the
starved
feathers
about
off and
24
threw them in the
hours.
barrel, and that was it.
They wouldn't-
And they had to be there in 24 hours? I
No,
would
they
think
had to-
so.
He sent
You
him
didn't feed them.
refrigerated.
You didn't feed them for 24 hours because you didn't take out the inside, so they had to be sort of clean inside. So you just gave them water for 24 hours.
I suppose they was, I suppose they was in ice.
Yeah, they were in refrigerated cars,
Mhm.
sent out there.
Yeah, and they were dressed in the winter time too. Around Thanksgiving, it was always, and then maybe for Christmas too, wasn't it?
I don't know, for Thanksgiving, I suppose, but they couldn't freeze, could they? Or would they?
November. In those years, it was a lot colder than it was
Yeah.
now.
But I mean, I imagine they wouldn't have froze anyhow. not in
Uh-huh.
the
What
fall.
did you mean, the turkeys?
No, they couldn't be frozen, but they cooled off.
We had one time, wasn't that one, you used to have to pack them in barrels, them turkeys, and one time, wasn't there one barrel
Velvet
spoiled?
spoils, uh-huh.
Because it was on a, in a pipe that was,
Heated, too close to heated pipe.
yeah, it was too close to a heated
Did
pipe.
we get paid for them then from the railroad? or
No.
No.
So,
Huh?
We didn't, I
The
don't think we
railroad
didn't,
didn't pay.
didn't
I
know
don't
enough
think,
about it.
I don't think we knew enough about it.
That you should have been able to get paid if they charged for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what about the time when some of our cows were poisoned from that
Yeah, that's another
the
thing, I was just
grasshopper.
gonna mention it.
grasshopper poison that they had out at the reclamation house up
Yeah.
there? Our cows got in, they didn't have it, and they,
What
and
did
I
we
think
lose, about 2 or 3 head that time?
two, and we didn't get paid by the government either for that stupidness, having that stuff in there.
Well, it wasn't stupid, it helped a lot of people, killed grasshoppers.
But they should have locked it up, that house, so
Yeah.
the cow couldn't get in there.
Yeah, but was that wasn't that a neighbor's responsible for that?
Now we're talking about when that, them cows got them pain cancer that neighbor threw around and they
Oh,
stopped
that,
pain.
yeah.
I don't know whether we should name,
I was
Yeah,
home
or
yet when that happened, I
because he
think.
paid for them.
Yeah, that was,
But he wanted to buy the cattle back himself, and I don't know, I think finally, I don't think he paid for them all, and I don't think he bought them all neither. But we lost quite a
You
few.
mean the last time?
Yeah.
Yeah, he paid for whatever we thought it was worth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was Schmidt,
yeah.
So then after a couple of years then, you probably started raising beets there too, is that right?
Oh,
Do you
that
remember?
had to be.
I think,
When did we
on
start- when
the
did we start
second
growing
year, the
beets?
second year we was there, we
Yeah.
was irrigating.
Mhm.
And that first year, I remember both of them, we had used one of them old scrapers. What was that, a 1 or 2 horse scraper, 2-horse scraper, to build that fill across that irrigation ditch. And it took us a
Drain
long
ditch, you mean
time,
the
yeah,
drain
drain
ditch.
ditch, it took us a long time to,
Well, it took us all summer that time, that
Yeah.
first
So
summer.
how many acres would you have started the first year with beets?
Oh, very few,
About
maybe.
20.
Was it that much?
yeah, I think so.
Well, we did have hay on the lower part because we had that June flood every year, and that was enough so we had our hay, remember?
Yeah, but after we had started raising beets, after that things started getting better for us.
Yeah.
What kind of equipment did you use then, or was it hand
Ben, I think
labor,
you
or
can
was
answer
it
that.
animals, was
Well,
it?
Horse drawing.
Well, while I was home, it was horse, because you two guys went to the school
All,
and,
all horses and
Uh-huh.
hand topped everything,
Uh-huh.
and hauled with wagons.
uh-huh.
Our loyalty members,
So-
he done that too.
So while you two guys went to school, I had to do all the horse work with, for Pa too. I don't
What
know.
happened to Martha?
Well, you always helped Mom. You never did anything.
You helped too sometimes drive the horses while we was filling
You
the
remember that?
irrigation,
I
making the
remember that
irrigation
one
ditch.
time, the horses, there was a, they were, what do you call that thing, you know?
Scraper, you mean?
Scraper or something
Yeah.
like that, and I was supposed to hold them,
The
you know,
horses,
and
yeah.
lead the horses, and they started getting restless, and I let them go. And I think it was a lot with things
Yeah.
like that when I was growing up.
And then I couldn't control the scraper after that, and stumps, you know, you hit the stump. When it hit the stump,
Yeah, that went over.
boom, she went up.
We had
So
to
I
go
wasn't
slip
very
on
good.
it first.
Yeah, I think they called him slip at that time, rather than
No, they call
scraper.
it slip scraper.
But Martha milked
And then
cows.
we had these little
And
pigs
so
with
did
a
I,
big
Mom.
long
The
handle, I think
poorest
four
cow
horses
I
in that.
milked,
Yeah.
the one that gave the least milk.
Wasn't there a story about you going swimming or something too, Mom, out there?
At the canal, wasn't that?
At the canal, that was all in Fairview, when we
Yeah.
lived in Fairview.
Mm-hmm,
Pa took us kids out swimming, was it?
mm-hmm.
And he went ahead of us, you know, and showed us how. I went right behind him. I was going to do the same thing, only I went down, clear down to the floor. And I had to crawl out. I had enough in me to crawl out to the side and come up that way. You know, smart enough to save myself, I did. Pa didn't even know I went down.
Skinny people don't float.
Huh?
Skinny people don't float.
Yeah, she was skinny at that.
Some musical instruments, so was there, when did he play these? And
Was he in a band here?
Saturday evening in Fairview.
Yeah.
Bandstand.
That's what he played in the band, his trumpet, cornet or trumpet. He had
That,
a
but
cornet and a trumpet.
Yeah,
He
both?
played either way. Well, they're both the same instrument except built different.
he did bandonium, he played that.
At dances.
At dances, around Cartwright and
Not
stuff
very
like that.
often. once
Uh-huh.
in a
No, he
while.
didn't like that too good. He didn't like to play because they insisted on him playing all the time and no rest for him. He didn't like that. I think in Germany maybe they played and then they maybe had a drinking spell.
Yeah.
And then they could play and have another drinking spell. Well, that wasn't working
Yeah.
out. this
That's how
way.
it was out there.
And they got paid more too down
And
here.
most
than I
likely
think
they
it
were
was-
paid.
it was supposed, should have been done mostly for,
Goodwill, huh?
yeah, goodwill mostly, and that didn't go too good with him.
well, now, did he bring these musical instruments with him from
Yeah.
Germany?
Mhm.
Yes,
Who
not-
played in the band with him?
Land was the director, Dr. Land. I remember
Luder.
that. Shorty Watterson
In the,
played
in the
the
town.
trombone.
Yeah.
Shorty Watterson and
Was there,
Roy Hutter. He played the French horn.
Was Lloyd in that band?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm. And the Eggleston was out there, and after it was that Bill Thompson, those younger ones, and Congas, and
Bill Zober was the soloist, wasn't he? I remember one time he sang "Let Me Call You Sweetheart," and Pa was accompanied him by the with a trumpet with a damper on it. You remember that? No, you don't remember that. Huh?
and I
The
remember,
Cundovs played.
Mhm.
Robert Cundov, and who else? Was Lena in it too? No.
I don't know if Lena, but Robert
Robert
Conda,
was.
I heard Pa talk often about him. He had to encourage him. That was at the very beginning. He encouraged him a lot so he would continue playing.
Yeah,
yeah,
seemed like the,
Bill
Sam-
Thompson was up there. Pa didn't like him, I know that. He was
what's
such a
Thompson?
Thompson's son,
Bill?
Bill Thompson's son,
And
yeah.
who else was
He
in
said,
that?
he said he was such a smart aleck.
That Sidney Banker. That Sidney
yeah.
Logan,
Logan?
he was in there too at
He
that
played the
time.
clarinet.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Clarinet.
Lou Whitter's mother,
Clarinet.
Clarinet.
Yeah.
Lou Whitter's brother-in-law was in there too. Now, what was
was
his
there
name?
Woodfill?
Woodfield?
Yeah, he was in there.
Kind of hard to remember all of that. But that was a Saturday night, they played in the band in the evenings, you know, usually. And that's when the people from town all gathered around and listened to him. It
Uh-huh.
was a,
Well, I remember what Lena Candace told you after Papa died.
This is,
Did
this
you
is getting
think-
the early part of the
She talked to
history
me
here
one
yet.
time.
I
Oh,
imagine
was it
there's
for you?
things in there that's long forgotten now.
she said, that, well, she's talking about me because I was in her class, and she said, I sure learned English fast. You know, it didn't take us long. And I remember when I went to school, we came in February, and all I ever had to do was copy what was in the book. I didn't understand what I was copying, but I guess I must have learned a little bit, you know, and that's all I done in the 6th grade.
Well, what about this music now? It wasn't for dancing necessarily then, it was just for,
Just to come and listen,
The
it was
band.
a,
Definitely.
Well,
It
they
was
had
a
a
band
band
concert
in town. And during the 30s, everybody come to town on Saturday
to
evening.
listen to it.
Uh-huh.
And they used
Listen
to,
to the
when they
band.
have to have a beat, they'd honk the horn, you could hear it all over.
Yeah, uh-huh.
They enjoyed it, and it was a good band.
Uh-huh,
It was a real good band.
Uh-huh. It was, they had a bandstand then where the
then after
Valley
dark,
Castor now. That's
the
where the
movie
bandstand
shows
was
went
empty lot
on.
at that time.
After the movie show was down, and then they went to the dance hall, Bucket of Blood.
well, now, did Grandpa have musical training?
No. One lesson I hear,
Yeah,
Well,
natural.
one lesson.
somehow or other he caught on by himself.
But he did read music, didn't he?
The what?
Yeah.
He
He
did
played
read
music.
music.
He played music too.
In fact, he said you can't play without music. You had to,
Have the notes, that's what it said.
huh?
He said you had to be
He
able
still could
to.
play by notes all the time.
So he could
Yeah.
play by ear or read music both?
No,
No,
just
he-
by notes.
No,
Just by notes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he would not play without the notes. He
Mhm.
was always looking at notes.
Yeah, but then he had to, I think, if he could write,
Yeah.
if he
Well,
could
he had
write
to
music, he had to be able to play,
Carl,
otherwise he'd never be able, am I right on that or not? Am I wrong?
Carl, he rewrote the music
Yeah.
so he could play the,
Yeah.
it had to be changed, you know.
From
Yeah,
So
I
he
know.
piano to,
go-
or maybe
go like
cornet
a
to
chant.
accordion and stuff like that. I guess you have different notes.
Let's
please.
see.
From cornet to,
He had to know
To,
the
accordion.
How to
notes, otherwise
transfer
he
it.
couldn't have wrote it.
That,
He transposed it, I would say, probably. If
Yeah.
he had music for some instrument and he wanted to play it on another one,
Right.
it would be in a different key, so he would have to transpose the music to that instrument.
That's what he
I
did.
remember one time, he never had no notes. That was one of the new songs here in this area. And that's all he did. He heard the melody of that, and then he made notes out of it. And he had nothing to look at. He had to just get it the way he knew it.
So he could
the
play
way
by
he
ear.
heard it.
very seldom he would even try to play without notes, you know. He was just, figure that's the way a musician does.
well, I know he wrote down a few notes and then he played it. And if it was right, he went on. That's what it was.
A lot of the music that he had came from Germany too, didn't it? Did he bring that over with
A
him?
lot of it, but a lot of the songs, those American songs, he just transposed all of that on that instrument.
No,
There were a lot of them.
not in Germany. Was it?
No, here.
He made them write in
Yeah.
here. Mm.
Whatever, you know.
Well, in Germany, he would have had the notes right for that accordion or bandoneon.
I remember even he had that old song, Oh Katarina. Anybody know that song? Oh Katarina, if you don't get leaner, I'll have to build a big arena. That's all I know of that.
Now, were any of you involved with music?
Huh?
Did
No.
any of you take part in music?
In band, I mean, not us kids, though. They didn't have band in those days, did they? Not that we know of.
You never played any of his instruments?
I know I was supposed to, I was interested in playing a fiddle one time, but we didn't have a fiddle. And when Pa bought one for me to, I didn't learn how. I just,
Paul never bought one.
Yeah, he traded it in on something, a horse or something, wasn't it?
We
He got
got that,
from- Oh, no, he got that
we
from
got that
Charles
from Charlie
Green, didn't he?
McCluskey.
That
We
was-
had one from Charlie
Charlie
McCluskey.
Where was it? Did he buy it though?
Cuisine, what did he get?
Did he buy it?
An old
He got it.
phonograph.
Oh,
He
that's
got
what
it
that
because he
was,
saved,
oh, yeah.
Charlie
I
said he
forgot.
saved his life and then
And,
he gave him that violin for,
How did he save Charlie's life?
it was in the coal mine. Because Charlie was standing right under the, and it, my dad seen it come down. And he just pushed him out of the way, it just went flying.
That was a railroad car full of coal, and he shoved him out of the way so it didn't run over him.
Full of gold?
Coal.
Oh, gold.
Railroad cars? You mean?
That's what Charlie
No, not,
McCluskey told
one
us.
of these mine cars.
Mine
Yeah,
cars,
one of them little
Yeah.
mine cars.
Yeah.
They had, I think,
They
about
got tracks in
3
there.
ton of coal or so on them.
And he didn't see it, and Pa, he never had no time to talk, he couldn't talk English, so he just shoved him out of the way.
Was that before we came here?
And Charlie
or after?
McCluskey, he was talking about that to us, you know.
Yeah.
And he never will forget that.
Now,
He
when
worked a
you
long
came
time
over
at the
here,
mine,
you
did
didn't
know
have
that?
copies of...
How long
the-
did he worked a long time at the mine,
Yeah,
how
for-
long?
Yeah, until 1929 anyhow, and then we quit. Yeah, even when we come back
Yeah.
here, he worked some more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think 2 years he was from when he was at the farm.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Because that's when you went to high school.
He and
That
that
was
second
in-
shaft, I don't know where that
That
is,
would have been
but
in
he and Frank
29.
Young built that second shaft.
He and Frank who?
Frank Young.
No,
Young?
that must have been after, that second shaft was built, what year was that? Was that in,
What is shaft? Is that the one that went into the hill?
no, straight down,
Straight down?
for air, I think, air shaft.
Well, how did they do that?
Don't know.
He and Frank who?
I know-
Lang Young.
Young?
Frank Young, you know, everybody heard about him.
Well, she wasn't around at that
No,
time.
no, they don't know him at all.
What happened to Young, Frank Young?
He died.
He died.
Yeah, but I mean, what happened?
What-
He was just,
How did
he
he
must have been
die?
a worker with Spot, and he, because I know we was well acquainted with him.
Oh, yeah, because they talk German.
Oh,
Well,
that's why.
they were our first friends
Yeah.
out here.
And he also had a Cartina or something. that he played.
Concertina,
Con-
concertina.
Yeah.
That he played. It was a
And
different
then-
instrument than pop.
Then he had
but it
that
looked
devil,
pretty
the
like it.
toyful guy, that great big one.
Oh, the bass fiddle, or what do you call it?
Yeah, they called it the
And,
toyful.
and his daughter Frances played the glockenspiel, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
It amazes me that there was all these musical instruments and music that came over from Germany and not too much else. Well, for example, didn't Grandma and Grandpa have to get birth certificates and baptismal records or something from Germany after you were here?
After the Second World War. And that was for the reason that we would be able to get our Social Security once it came time for us to really receive the money. If we didn't prove that we were born or something like that, we wouldn't have been able to get Social Security. And Ma was for that right away. That was one of the things she had accomplished.
You had to prove your age.
Yeah, prove the age.
So
And
when did they became citizens sometime too, right?
That was in the 30s, I think, when it became
Seems
citizens.
to me it was about 6 years after we came too, didn't they?
Wasn't Johnson,
Herman Johnson.
Johnson and Shorty Otis, didn't you stand up for
I
them?
think so.
I believe so.
Yeah.
They would let my sister and everything.
Yeah.
They had to have witnesses, why? To prove that,
Well, maybe character, so they know
Yeah,
their
for our
character.
character,
that-
yeah.
You
Now-
know, speaking of when we was in this time in Europe, I learned how to put in new strings on violin.
You did?
And see that violin that Pa from
From
McCloskey?
McCloskey, I still got that, and I got all 4 strings now on that.
It has a beautiful tone, that
Yeah.
violin. You never seen it?
Did
There's one thing,
I don't know, I don't think I wanted to learn how because that's not a very common you know.
Oh, there's lots of ladies. When
I-
you see,
But in the evenings, a lot of families would sing and play instruments, and
No,
that,
we didn't that.
you didn't do that.
We
yeah.
never,
And
We was too tired, I think.
Yeah.
working all
Yeah.
day.
Besides, we had a radio by that time.
That's one thing, like you mentioned, for entertainment, what we done at night. The radio was a big part of that. And then also, outside sports, we done quite a lot. We went skiing a lot, or sleighing, or that you don't hardly, like now, you don't hardly see kids do it anymore.
Yeah. We were always swimming in that hole up there.
Well, swimming kids still going to swim in the ditch a lot, but you don't see much sliding down to the hills anymore.
If
Them little hills that we have
we
around.
found an
oh,
old
we
piece
went
of tin,
visiting the neighbors too. That was one.
Yeah, we visited kids when we were
play
kids.
cards,
We visited the
just
neighbors
like
a lot.
now, play
Yeah.
Mom and
cards.
Pa didn't, but you and I
With
did.
kids.
You and I did.
Yeah.
We had them card parties. They had about every week during the winter time, maybe about 5 or 6 during the winter time.
Families, huh?
Families get together and they'd have a card party.
At different people's houses.
Different people's houses.
And then, now and then we went to dances. We went to dance at,
Door school and the door hall.
Yeah.
And then at that house by,
Miller's.
yeah.
And I don't know, it seemed like
I think
as
I
the,
think we had the most fun with Millers up there because it was so small, so everybody was talking to each other.
I don't remember that, but I do remember that we got acquainted there because Pa took us. I guess he wanted us to know people.
Were you involved with your parents becoming citizens? Were you with them when it happened, or
Oh yeah, we became citizens when they became citizens.
Automatically.
where at?
Why not?
Where
We
did
went
we
to
go?
Minot to be a,
Why not?
Why not?
Then too?
that's where we had to go to the court there to the judge.
Yeah, that was after we were older, but before that.
No, I mean,
Well,
that's
did-
when Pa had to go there, as I remember, to become a citizen. Pa and Ma had to. And we automatically become
Yeah.
citizens.
Yeah.
after
Yeah, but
that.
we went one time extra.
That
after
was just to get,
Later.
where, like Lizzie said, for our social.
We didn't have to go to
No,
the court
no,
there to
we-
get that done.
Yeah, I think we went there too. It's also.
To Minot?
Right.
Uh-huh.
I don't
Yeah, we
remember
did.
that.
I remember then.
Well, wait a while, maybe the folks only went to Oxford.
Well, that's what I was
one-
I
wondering.
believe
one
they
time
did.
we-
Or
one time-
Schaefer, that was Schaefer, not
One
one.
time we went out there, uh-huh.
I think they went to Schaefer.
The second time we went to Minot.
I remember we, with Marie, we had to go to Minot when she
Mhm.
got hers.
Oh,
Yeah, that's,
Because we went up to the what was it, it happened at Old Timers Day.
old festival.
Yeah, at the festival.
And it was raining that day,
So we had to go up to the gym,
Yeah.
to finish that day.
so they had a program up there.
And one of the things they said, whoever was the longest, the longest time ago they had immigrated into this here country.
The
So,
furthest
uh-huh,
away.
yeah. So I think I raised you raised your arm and you said you came over in 1927. And I said, nope, came over in 1926. So you're the one that is up there and that's supposed to get that spoon. And I said, no, she came at the same time I did. And I said, how come? And I said, well, she's my sister, so she had to come at the same time.
And everybody
So
laughed
she
at.
argued it was 1927 and I argued it was 1926, so I got the spoon. So when they found out that she was my sister, they said, well, she's going to get one too. She did.
Did Mike see about it?
They gave it to Mike. They gave it to Mike, and then Mike gave it to me.
It's
and
a
I gave it to
Montana
him.
spoon.
And you guys were on opposite
yeah.
sides of the gym when this
Yeah, I
happened?
was on the north side of the gym and you were
Yeah, I was at the back end.
on the floor part.
I don't know where.
And you didn't know the other person on the other side of the room was your sister,
No.
raising their hands.
Oh, this is silver plated. I thought it was solid
Okay.
silver.
I think that's it.
Yeah, that was quite a deal.
And I remember afterwards people asking him, now, did you get it straight who came first?
What was the correct year?
1926.
I was wrong. I was a dummy. I really believed it though, you know.
see, we bought our first car was in 1927, I think we.
This is the the picture that we received from Pa, once he was an American, that picture with his brother.
Uncle John?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Miss.
Yeah, that's Uncle John out there.
And this is before the family came over?
Yes.
Help the old
Mhm.
man.
And that's the only picture we received of him while he was out here by himself.
The picture you're taking now is a picture of Mom, taken about 12 years after he came to the U.S. from Germany, or she.
That's
The citizen papers, huh?
We wouldn't have taken
We
pictures.
liked them haircuts
We wouldn't have taken pictures for any other.
at that time, yeah.
It was taken when
Everybody had
the
it,
folks
you know,
became
at that time.
citizens.
Yeah. mhm.
That long?
Now,
I wonder if-
that's Ma hiding behind him.
I think
He was,
those two-
I don't know why she hid behind him. I imagine maybe she was afraid she'd have to do something, you know, maybe sing or something, otherwise she wouldn't be hiding behind him like that. Yeah, and I think she always was a little bit bashful
I wonder if
at that.
Bruce still want this?
And Pa,
1970.
yeah, that's what they say. That, yeah, I imagine Ma died in 74, so 76, so it had to be before. I would say it was after 1970. Probably 72 or so.
It was written
Or
on
does
that
it say
there.
1970? Well, then it had to be 1970.
In their house?
Yeah, in town.
In
And
Fairview.
what's he playing, Carl?
That's a bandoneon. He's playing the bandoneon. What song he's playing, I don't know.
And he brought it over from Germany.
Huh?
He brought it over from Germany.
Yeah, and I got that. I got it at home. That instrument there.
Yeah. Still in the Langwald possession.
See, now that way it gets them both on there really good.
Okay, now.
Yeah, and there's nothing else around it. Where before it's just a little bit taller than it is wide, so
Oh,
it would pick a little on the outside.
Does it make just one picture now?
Yeah, I'm just leaving it on. I think I'll use this at the very beginning. They're really in excellent condition, aren't they?
How it turns out today. Want to cut that down a little, Marilyn? Here, I'll shut it down.
Yeah.
As you can still see it.
Mhm. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Seeing if I get richer or poorer today.
You're watching it on television,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
But there's only for a few hours, Gavin, you get richer.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's surprising. Sometimes I gain 5 figures a day. If it does good. In what? Of course, that's only paper value. I leave them that way because I don't want to. If I trade every time when it goes up a few points, it'd all go in commission. And in the end, you wouldn't make nothing anyhow. You have to leave it for several days or so, and then if it goes up, maybe in the up market, probably in a week when it's goes up mostly, then if it goes up good, then you might have a chance to make something. But if it goes up a little bit, you ain't gonna make nothing, because it all goes in commissions.
Only a little bit at
Today is a good day now, like, what was that? It went up about, well, from about 60 points, 60, 70 points. She went up today, so that should be a good day for me today.
all your stock? All your stock went up that day?
No, I haven't seen them all yet.
Oh.
See, some of them, I got some of those down there. There's not too many shares outstanding, so they don't come by too often on that. Some of them, I don't see them at all, except that they're closed now. But if you take while they're trading, they don't hardly trade. So if they trade once a day, then that shows it. But I don't watch it that close all day just for one stock to go by. Because once a day I'll have to watch it all the time. It just isn't worth it to me.
If you want to sell or buy something, what do? Get on the phone?
Yeah, if I want to buy some, I of course wait when everybody wants to sell. When the market's no good, that's when I want to buy. I mean, generally, that's when nobody wants to stock, that generally drives it down, and that's the time most investors should buy it. And what these stock analysts or that say, I don't even listen to them, because I think they're the biggest bunch of liars there are.
They don't know better, Carl.
Really hard to explain. See, I compare it from yesterday and today. This is yesterday's yet, and today, after the when this closing stock market comes, then see, notice here, these here, I know the two, I know it isn't going to change that much. So the first, this is $20 or so, you know, that's each share. With the one is with the one that runs 10 to 20, and with the two, 20 in the 20s, and three on so on. The six, the Texaco, that's a 6. That means it's somewhere in the $60 range. And today, yesterday, she was 63 5/8. Today I seen it 64 1/4. See, so that is the way I keep track of it. I'm too old to play. Mary, you want to try it?
I don't know what to try, but I was just wondering.
That you should have a chair for
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, this here.
Yeah.
This is Grandpa's Bandonian. Is it Bandonian?
Yeah, like a band and onion.
Onion, yeah.
And he brought that over with him when he first came to this country?
Yeah.
Or did Grandma bring it over? He brought it?
No, I think he must have. I don't remember if Grandma, but apparently he brought that over.
That he bought in the during
Yeah,
the
see here it
invasion, huh?
says Ruth. Notice it?
Yeah, it says ban onion, O-N-I-O-N is onion,
See
isn't
it?
it?
Huh.
There?
Yeah.
Huh.
And there's also a, if you can see that there. Do you want me to?
I can close in on it.
Yeah, that is here. Past Bandonion play. Recorded on December 11, 66.
90. Is that heavy?
Langwald wrote out for himself to use. I think he had a language of his own. very neat, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Over the next 3 years. I think this is for real.
All right, why now? Is it the recovering economy? Is it the interest rate play? What's the story, do you think?
I think that's probably the major reason. The economy recovering faster than expected.
This is supposed to be lower yet, the last one?
I'm not sure, I've forgotten.
This one can sound a little more like it. It's a little too below now. Put your light to it now. The tighter it is, the higher the tune gets. It's a little too high and too tight. Sounds with this. That's almost the first like to decline on his toes. You know that you know that one? Huh?
That one. I remember this now.
Did you have some lessons already on that, Marilyn?
Yeah.
We probably need some of this here on it.
Yeah. Of this wax, huh?
I would think.
Grandpa got for,
A long time ago.
from Mom?
No, yeah, I think so.
Was hanging in the attic.
Yeah, for all the years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Was it tiger or what? Was it yeah. That was in the house or something.
Is this the way you have to do it?
Yeah.
Or just something over it?
It's dry already.
It's usually,
Yeah. that's
also another thing about these is that, I think this is just a plain string, but these are wound. You can feel it. Hear it?
You can
But
see
that's
it.
the way they were, Marilyn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they are.
That one
That's
is a
the
new one.
difference in the strings too, that
Mhm.
some of them are wound.
Mhm.
I think I should test that.
See, as long, that's the only string as far as I know, the one here that was broke.
But Mom never did take lessons on that one either?
No, she never even played it, so
She wanted it and Grandpa got it and then she didn't play it, huh?
I think that's about the size of it. Want to try it now, see if it works better?
It's got Stradivarius in it.
Yeah, it's not a Stradivarius because it's not a genuine. It's what is that? I think the real Stradivarius it spells different, even the name and that.
What you mean? You mean?
It's
Yeah.
got
Don't you have to push it under your chin?
Had Lavelle, you know, through the life of Lavelle, and they played this Bolero. I think that's what his most famous, isn't it? They know that melody pretty near all over. Even in the army, some of the guys knew it, and all they know down there is, you know what they know mostly in the army. Yeah. this one too yet, Marilyn?
No. Mm-mm. But I think she wants some
I
of that
thought you
music.
probably wanted, oh, you already took the picture of that.
Yeah, before.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then you get looking at it, and there's some of the same things that Grandpa had in there. All these numbers, see?
Then he did use the same thing here, the same method.
Similar, yeah. It's very.
There, I see, uh-huh. Funny, isn't it? I've had it all the time and never noticed, and you just look at it and you notice. The where I got with the flute, all the kids followed him, and
Pied Piper?
yeah, I think it's the Pied. I bet that's probably. Is there a tune to the Pied Piper that you know of or not?
Yeah.
Well, this one probably is it. I don't know for sure. He had some of these old ones, the early ones here when he came. I was trying to find them, if you remember them. These a time, sweet dreams.
Oh, well, I think Ruth's got that book.
But that's quite a deal. I like the bottle here. This in here is from one of my cousins. They gave that to us. And most of that. Marie and I, this one and the other one, like it when we were in
Which one is from your cousin?
this one in here. That's from my cousin. Greta, they called her. Greta was her name. And her husband, Gross was their last name. I forgot his first one. This here comes from Bad Tolz. That's a resort center where they go for skiing. This one and that other one there, we had a pair of them. And these, I don't know, I'd probably pick them up somewhere, you know, these beer mugs there. These in here, they're not beer mugs. I don't know what they...
And
Well, right
sister.
after the war, they all destroyed them, you know, because they didn't want to be caught with them. But somehow, I guess, she probably, that used to be for her, what was it, identification?
Yeah, I don't know, I didn't
Yeah.
read it.
Mhm.
Good, maybe, but they had a KIN card. They have to have an identification card now too, Carl.
Yeah.
Right, they have to carry that along.
But
Yeah,
this
yeah.
was during World War II identification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had tried to find another one, a medal,
Yeah,
that while she was working in,
Well, it's
but I can't find it. I don't know where I
like
put
this
it.
might be date.
me a letter, they don't know, they put it, our zip code in front of the town here, Fairview.
Oh.
One road, Montana, 27, then our zip code. Came here. He didn't written right Fairview. She knows better, but I will see if I can finish them. Because it is so heavy linen, it's very hard to wash and to iron. It has almost to be wet to iron it. Very high.
And that's looks like it was done with like a worsted
yeah.
yarn or something.
Yeah, I don't know. But,
Not what the real fine threads for needlepoint.
not too fine. It has according to this course.
That's the last thing that Marie's brother sent home to the family from while he was in Russia, and after that he was killed
In what war is this?
in the last war, Second World War. I don't know if there's any value to the money yet, but it doesn't matter really. Right, I'll try and get them to. Did you get the other side?
Yeah, Lee Ward's.
Something like Christmas.
Lee Ward's, yeah, I know. It's all American. Oh, that's gorgeous.
But she had patience for that.
Probably put the
These were from Maria's sister Annie, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Hummel figurines again, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
She must have liked.
Yeah. Well, see, Marilyn, they was from all her life. See, that was probably all these that I saw. I kept them, wouldn't throw them away.
They were,
Yeah, some.
what'd you say, homily cards?
Huh?
What'd you call them?
Hummel. Hummel. Hummel.
Hummel.
Hummel. Hummel.
Yeah, what do they say in German? Hummel, it sounds like castrated sheepdog.
That's what they put out to them. I thought it'd be kind of interesting, maybe that or not.
Yeah, it is.
But I think there's another one yet there.
Is that something that she had too?
Yeah, well, I think all the postal workers, the post office sent them one. You know, all those that worked in the post office.
That's what she had done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She not in the post office. The telephone system was handled by the post office. She never handled the mail. She handled the telephones.
And these are all German stamps.
They're not old. Yeah, they're all German. They're not old. They're this year's issue,
1990 or 91?
1990. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Reunification of Germany, commemorating it. These stamps here, or sheets, I believe you would call them.
The Bonn is the
Mhm.
capital.
Bonn. Mhm. Illegal to get them now, but I think the one told me there's an army officer, he broke it off. I don't know how the heck I got hold of it, but that's what somebody told me that.
But it's part of the Berlin Wall.
That is part of the Berlin Wall, that's what he told me.
Oh, yeah. People are getting crazy. You can get it all over their lager, but their camps, or they build it their
Right,
villages
in
into-
Germany?
Yeah,
Yeah,
by the
where it
Rhine.
was part of the Roman Empire?
Yeah, along the Rhine. They came here up
Yeah.
along the Rhine up into Germany, and from there to the Rhine goes into the North Sea, they went over to England. It was, what was that?
This dates back to biblical time. I think this thing could be 1900 years old.
What is it?
It's
What
a,
did you see? But it's from a Roman camp, huh?
yeah, and that's the roof. That used, I believe he said that belongs to the roof. They probably hooked them this way, you know, so they
She
wouldn't
part of
slide
a
down.
building then?
Yeah, right.
Or a roof?
I think that was part of the roof.
Yeah,
Mhm.
shingles with it.
Sort of shingles, I think that's what he was supposed to be. But that's something, isn't it? Like the guy, that's Joe, our cousin, told me this thing is, yeah, I think he said at least 1800 years old, maybe a little older than that even.
Well, is it carved rock then, or is it?
I think,
must
no,
have
not
baked it,
dark, it could be, I don't know, what does that look like? See here? Probably,
Feels like rock, doesn't it?
yeah, I don't know what that
Was
is.
that baked it then, huh?
Yeah,
Clay?
Yeah.
that's what I was wondering, if they could play or something like that.
It's very cold.
Yeah, we got fun.
Okay, Carl, what is your name?
Karl Langwald,
Where were you born?
Germany, Gladbeck, Germany,
When were you born?
1917.
What month?
April 17th, 4th month, 17th day.
Who were your parents?
Mr. and Mrs. Langwald. You want the Carl Langwald and
Martha,
Martha, Carl and Martha Langwald. Is that the way you want it? Mm-hmm.
maiden name Zisk, Karl.
Yeah, Zisk. My mother's
Zisk,
name,
yeah.
maiden name was Zisk.
Z.
Do you know how your parents enjoyed spending their free time?
I imagine just about like anyone else, have a good time if it's possible for them. I suppose I remember down there they enjoyed picnicking some, I think, you know, and I'm sure they enjoyed music often, you know, or they picnic or that. There's also some music, probably some music organizations playing there, and that is one of the things. They also liked opera. They have seen a few operas in their time.
That was in Germany?
Hmm. And down here, well, down here he played once in a while at dances, but I don't think he enjoyed it like he did down there. Yeah, and what else did he do? Oh, I suppose he liked to play with us kids, you know. Yeah, I remember sometimes he'd play ball with us, baseball, you know, or that, and it was kind of limited. We didn't have too much equipment for it, but still he enjoyed it when he had a chance. My mother, what did she like to do? All coach us, I suppose, mostly. You know, I think something like your mother probably wasn't too much different.
Playing cards.
Yeah, that's another thing. They enjoyed playing cards an awful lot.
What kind of card games did they play?
Whist or whist mostly. And my father back in Europe, he played this Scott, you know, quite a little bit. That's a deck with only 32 cards to a deck. 7 card low, seven numbered card was the low. And then after that it's like our deck, you know, from 7 on up, 8, 9, 10. And yeah.
It was called Scott?
Yeah, the game mostly was played with Scott. We even now sometimes, if there's enough around here that know it, that's the most popular game there was down there, Scott.
What kind of musical instruments did Grandpa play?
Well, those that he has here now, he played the bandoneon, he liked to play the trumpet awfully well, and like we said, during military time he was a drummer, and
That's not been brought.
I think,
No, that wasn't brought up yet.
that never was brought up yet? Yeah.
He was a drummer and
Yeah, well, we told you, didn't we? One time for company punishment, he and a buddy of his at that time, they had to, for about 3 hours, the fife and bugle, they had to go around the parade ground for punishment for 3 hours.
So he served in the military?
Yeah,
Where at?
in Germany at Königsberg,
Under the Kaiser.
yeah, under the Kaiser. That was the early.
what year was that? How much before Grandma and Grandpa were married? Do you know about?
No, that I don't know.
It wasn't after they were married.
No, it had to be before they was married. After they was married, all he had to do was work. You know, see that he could make a living for them.
Right.
Oh, but then I still remember also, he used to, I imagine we told you he was a miner there, right? Coal miner, and generally, after they were done, well, that was around noon or shortly after noon, often their entertainment mostly was in the courtyard, you know, every house sort of had a courtyard. That's what they called it, wasn't it? And then But, you know, a group
big
of
yard.
men would get
The big
together and
yard,
then
yeah.
they'd play Scots there.
Big yard.
Back,
The big yard.
backyard.
Behind the houses.
Yeah. What else do you know? Do we know
About you?
about?
What special memories do you have of your parents? Something that stays in your memory and it's outstanding?
I think that's what we said, we're just about,
But you yourself, what's your most special memory of them?
oh, I imagine, my mother was quite strict, you know, she was more strict. My father was more easygoing, unless we, what the heck, how would you say it, unless we taxed him too much. Then he'd get off sometimes a little. But outside of that, I don't remember ever, once or twice only, giving me a licking, and that I suppose I had it coming. So I don't blame him a bit for that. And my mother, well, she's like all of us. I think she was more strict on us. My mother, she had a bigger role in bringing us up than my father did. That I'm sure of. Because I imagine, well, I think in most cases, women play a bigger part in bringing up the kids than men. Don't you agree with that?
At home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there certain things that you did consistently with your parents? For example, going to church?
To church? I never went to church until I was about 20 years old. Before that time, I never went to church.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That surprises me.
Yeah, that does.
Yeah. Well, I think.
Transportation,
Yeah,
was that a problem maybe?
Yeah, and I guess the Martha and Lizzie, they went earlier, but somehow they changed their rules a little bit. After that, I think even down here you see kids there in church, well, as soon as they're able to pretty near carry them, right, they take them to church. They don't do that hardly anymore there, do they?
What?
Take kids to church,
How small?
well, when you have to carry them.
When?
When you have to carry them.
No, they have here several masses, and there are so many churches,
Yeah.
especially in our area.
Yeah,
So many Catholic churches, they could go to a later mass.
Yeah.
And the daddy has to stay home and watch
yeah.
the kids.
Mhm.
Then when you are 7 or 8 years old, then you have to
Yeah.
go with your parents or with the school.
And I think it wasn't that the way they was coming around to teaching the kids. You can't teach them too much until they're about 5 or 6 years old.
I don't know how they have it now. That I don't know.
It seems to me like I heard them talk
Yeah,
about that.
could be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
See, what's the use taking them to church always, when in a way it's a waste of time?
Yeah, but when both parents go, then the kids would be alone at home.
Yeah, right.
That is the, and they
Yeah.
should not be alone.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all of just about that well, I had my, I think my first communion probably when I was about 19 or 20 years, and I was confirmed while I was in the service at Hutchinson, Kansas. Bishop of Hutchinson was the one that officiated in that ceremony.
Who were your brothers and sisters?
Well, Bernard was my only brother, and Martha and Elizabeth, they were my sisters. Should I give them the full name now?
That's okay.
I imagine you know it anyhow.
As a child, what was expected of you?
To obey.
I think that's about it. I think Marie answered it, obey. And you
What-
better obey.
What did Marie say, though? I couldn't hear her.
Obey.
Obey, huh?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Did you have special chores that you had to do all the time, or?
Well, down there, back in Europe, I don't remember hardly any chore. Down in here, I suppose we had to, while my father was working in the coal mine here also, we had to keep the wood supply, chop the wood and bring in that, and I think we even milked some too. But everybody, I don't know if Benny milked or not, but I know I had a milk, and my two sisters, they had a milk. And what else did we do? Well, we had to go to school We didn't get that far, did you?
Do you have any special memories of anything with your brothers or your brother or sisters happening in your childhood?
Special memories?
Uh-huh.
Well, I remember here my brother one time. It was about in January, I believe, sometime. He wanted to go to school without the sheepskin coat, and in the morning was about 20 to 30 degrees, and I told him he'd better take that. The weather's unpredictable here, and exactly what happened. When he was home, he had all the clothes, he had sheepskin coat and all on, got so cold, he started bawling, you know, that he just couldn't take it hardly. See, so it's a good thing he took his coat along, wasn't it? Otherwise, I suppose it would have been cold enough, maybe it would have frozen. That even though, you know, I was along and tried to help him, but I had tough time keeping warm too that time.
Was that going to school then?
Yeah, coming back from school is when that happened. We had a walk at that time, from door all the way down to the farmhouse here.
You
We had,
walked?
we had a
that
walk. We
distance?
never had no buses at that time. After that, the buses, they was put in service.
Okay, where did you go to school?
The door at that time. Well, first of all, in Germany, until in the 3rd grade, then the family moved here, and then we moved to Fairview, and first we went to the West Fairview schools for from February until vacation time, May, and after that, the East Fairview school. They had 2 schools there, and the first year went there on that you remember the Otis school, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And after that, did a school that was along the track. That was the East Fairview school, and after that, we moved to Williston, and then we went for about maybe half a year or so to the Williston country school down there, and from there we came then like I said, on Christmas, New Year's, we moved from there to here to a farm that we had here now, and I remember it was a stormy that winter when we did go there. Had to go over fences and that go cross country so we could get by, and you couldn't follow the road because they was blocked. Had to go find the open places, you know, so one could drive with the car that my father had at that time. It's different now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you went through the 8th grade at Dorr,
I finished at Dorr.
finished at
Yeah.
Dorr.
And that was the end of my education,
Why?
school education. Oh, I suppose there was rough times, the depression, that was in the midst of the depression, and my folks didn't have any money to, if I wanted to get more schooling, I'd have to go, I imagine, in Montana, and that would have cost money at that time. Tuition, I think they called that.
You probably wouldn't have been able to stay at home then either. You probably had to board in town or something?
That would be possible, I don't know. Yeah.
As a child, what things were strictly forbidden in the family?
Strictly forbidden. I can't think of anything that was strictly forbidden.
You never did anything that you shouldn't have then.
I wouldn't say that.
That's a good boy.
I wouldn't say that because I wasn't an angel, I'll tell you that.
No?
Yeah,
You were a regular boy then, huh?
right.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, I think like I said, I believe I would have liked to follow the music line a little bit. Like I said, my big ideas was at that time was I would have liked to write music. See if, but then even at that, eventually, it was probably a pipe dream, huh?
But you would have liked to have been a composer.
Right. Mm. But I think I just have a hunch. In my lifetime, I should have been able to bring something up that would have been acceptable to the public or the world, maybe. I don't know.
That sounds like a grand plan.
Yeah.
So what became of you? After you got out of the 8th grade, what did you do then?
Well, then I was farming for, first of all, with my father and my brother Benny, and then afterwards, my father, I think he wanted me to get married, so he and my mother moved from the farm. He went to, started moving around to Arkansas first, and while he was there, I had my blood vessels had to be lamed out, so when they heard that, they come home right away, and after that, they went to Washington, and and then after so long a time, they also quit. I guess maybe they figured they had enough of traveling, so they come home, and about that time, that's about it. They came home, and I think that's about all I can.
So you think that Grandma and Grandpa left the farm to give you an opportunity to find a lady?
Exactly.
Not a girl.
Exactly. Yeah. And after I quit farming, then I'm doing what I'm doing now. I
And what is that?
an investor. And,
Stock market investor.
Yeah, stock market.
How long have you been doing that, Carl?
Since 1963. Long time, isn't it? Or was it 64? 63. Mhm.
And how did you get interested and started in the stock market?
I don't know. I think I followed the Billings Gazette for quite a while and followed the quotes, on that, what it was doing. I think eventually it got me. I had to try it out a little bit.
Your parents,
Did
your parents started to.
Yeah, but our first venture was with remember Kojanchik here in Fairview?
uh-huh.
Yeah, they was for mutual funds, and they came around, and no, that was the second. That was the first one was the oil man came around, and he talked us into it. Of course, that was our first venture, so we lost it all.
Who is we?
I, and I think my parents, they put a little in it too, didn't they? It seems to me like. That was this Bannatyne field. You probably remember that. A guy by the name, well, I probably won't mention names, but he came around and then he talked us into it, and I believed too much what he said, and so, and I think the guy probably meant well, but he just couldn't round up the money for what he planned on doing. So after a while, well, he paid for it. The guy that with that oil project, I understand, he served time in Montana as a result of that.
But you lost your money on that one.
Yeah, we're a lot. Well, I wasn't the only one. There's others he knew also
Uh-huh.
that. Yeah.
But you were interested enough to continue at that point then.
Well, not with that, but with other.
Yeah.
With other, and after that, then first came this Joe Kojanchik and his mutual funds, and I put some in that too, but it was too slow for me. I think at times you could make more in the banks than in the mutual funds, so I got out of that and started the common stock, And that, I had better luck with that.
Now, last time we were here, you said this has been the majority of your income now through the last few years,
Yeah,
the
right,
stock market.
Right. Mhm.
In fact,
Well, I built this house and built this land, all this land. That's from winnings in the stock market, and there's enough left over. I won't say how much, but there's enough left over. I'll never, if it continues this way, I'll never have to work.
When you say this land, you don't mean the original.
What belongs to this house?
No, only what's here, this,
And
Oh,
where the trees are in.
Okay,
not the farm, no.
Mm.
no.
okay, that's what I was
Yeah.
curious about, yeah.
And yeah, that was it. And
What pastimes have you had throughout the years?
pastime.
Mm-hmm.
You mean when we went traveling? Would that be?
No, I'm thinking of, seems to me you were involved in making agate jewelry, weren't you?
Oh that is. I was a stone cutter, and I also was a coin collector, stamp collector also.
And you have a collection of
Oh, yeah.
music,
Of what?
of music?
Music? Yeah, I'm also a. But then my eyesight isn't what it should be. Did you try that one yet already?
No. See.
Don't forget that's loan. That's a loan.
Right,
Because I don't want to lose that record.
That's fine.
I wouldn't take $1,000 for that record. That's
Oh.
a fact. If I couldn't get a new one, like
should I take that off again?
the singers on that, Roberta Peters, she's the tops, as far as I can. She can really do this color tour. I've never heard anyone that can beat her with, to make the music talk like she can. And then when you take a lot of time, it sounds like, well, they're like acting. They have the power to make a person laugh or cry. Do you agree with that or not?
Right.
Yeah,
So what kind of records do you mostly like?
classical music.
And operas, huh?
Operas is classical, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have also orchestra?
Yeah. I have all the Beethoven symphonies, and I have quite a few of them also. Reader's Digest also, they also have music by the masters, and
Like Wagner?
Wagner's and
Now, I can remember Grandpa listening to a lot of
Yeah.
these music too, right?
Yeah.
yeah. He was. If it wouldn't be for Grandpa, I wouldn't have that Lucia de Lammermoor. Because he was the one that told me. I didn't want to listen to him at first, but boy, I'm glad I did.
Now, did he start getting records, or did you, or?
No, he told me what was good. At that time, I had enough to buy my own records. And then he was, he had mother to take care of, so I think, like I say, I wouldn't expect him to buy records for me.
But he did enjoy records you had too, didn't he?
He was, in music, he was stubborn. Yeah, he had his own mind on that. But he was a regular Wagner fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sit for hours and listen to it.
Yeah, and I must say, Richard Wagner, he has some for orchestration. I think Richard Wagner has more than most composers. Of course, I do like Beethoven, but Richard Wagner, I think he uses the full orchestra more than Beethoven does. The horns, and everything. That is, yeah. Oh, there goes the train.
Okay, what national or international events have affected your life, and how did you participate in them?
Well,
The war.
I was wondering.
The war.
Yeah, the war,
Second
the
World
war I don't know. Yeah, I think it probably affected me some, but I got away among other people, and then rather always at home and listen to Papa and Mama. So I think I think it pretty near anyone, it does them good. For one thing, many of them, it teaches them to, be more fair, more quiet, listen to other people's too, you know, what they have to say. Don't always try to pull your own ideas, you know, across, which aren't always the best anyhow.
Also live and let live.
Huh?
Live and let live.
Yeah, live and let live. That's my motto, really. Yeah.
Can you tell us how you went into the service?
And I shoot that.
Yeah, how you got into the service and how old you were
Oh,
and,
yeah. I must have been about 24 years old and was inducted in Fort Snelling. Spent 2.5 years altogether in the service, and about 2 years in Kansas and Wyoming, and then the last part, about 7-8 months in Alaska, and then in the end in India. And I was mostly quartermaster, and in India I became a military, in the military police. And mostly work is all that I got out of that service. I didn't have. Oh, I suppose it would have lasted longer. Probably would have seen some fighting with that, but it quit when we got to India. It was over with about that time.
What were the years that you served then?
42 to 46, I believe.
Is there a story of why you went to the military? Is there a story of why you served in the military?
Not that I know of.
Did Benny go?
No.
Why?
I suppose Benny, they had to have a farmer, you know, someone they wanted. At that time, one person was supposed to have been left, you know, so if there would have been 5 of us, they would have taken 4, but the 5th one at that time would have stayed home. And in this case,
and your parents wanted you to go instead of Ben, right?
they didn't, they probably, but that's not the way as it worked. I was drafted first, see, and when I was drafted, then I had to go. If he would have been drafted first, he would have had to go.
Oh, see, I'd always understood that Grandma and Grandpa had you go feeling because of your eye you wouldn't go to the front,
No.
and then if you were there they couldn't get Ben. That's the way I had understood it.
No, you know, maybe that's the way they wanted it, but I was drafted first, see, and that's really what, why I had to went first.
But they took you anyway, no?
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's really, as far as I know, that I don't think there's no story on that. It's, they probably would have liked that, that's the way they thought, but it wasn't actually that way.
Now, you have something wrong with your eye, one of your eyes, right?
Right. Mm.
Were you born that way?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A split pupil. It was split in 3, and it didn't focus like if it would have been together. See, at first, my parents tell me I had vision, but not clear vision. Well, you can understand if it was split, probably only. How would you explain that? I could only see probably from parts of my eye, not all through. Like where, if it wasn't focused, I'd probably see a little here, a little there, but not the whole picture, only part of it. It's hard to, but I'm sure you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Do you also have just one kidney? Or
Yeah, that's what they told me, but nobody knew that until how long ago was that? When they knew, when Dr. Muina told me I had one kidney.
Yeah,
Remem-
when he was here, when was it? In the
Yeah.
70s, no?
Yeah, it was in the 70s.
I think that's interesting, because some of the rest of the family has wondered if they've had,
My
There
mother
too.
only had one kidney.
she only had one too.
That's what they
Did,
said.
didn't your mother say he had only one also?
Yeah, my mother, she only
Yeah.
had one kidney.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, we didn't know that until one starts doctoring a lot more.
X-ray, yeah.
Mhm. About it?
Well, I don't know a heck of a lot about that. It's,
You were 6 or 8 years old and
that's
taken in Germany?
Yeah, second, I remember, like I said, I remember that white sweater that I had there. I was so proud of it. And that's one of the few things that I remember of that time. About,
The one in the military.
oh, the military?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that was taken probably in 1943.
Do you know where you were at on there?
No, what?
Where you were.
What fort, where were you at?
Right in our, I don't know, ground, right into ground, right there in front of the orderly room, I think is where that was taken.
What state were you at?
In Kansas,
In Kansas.
Camp Phillips at that time, Camp Phillips, Kansas. One thing, when I come back from the service, got back into a civilian life here, that was about as lonely a place then as you could find. See, with all the people before, you mingled with them, and then suddenly you come back down in here. It hit you pretty hard,
Yeah.
but then after 2-3 weeks you got used to it again and didn't bother me anymore after that.
Now, didn't you say you served as a German interpreter too?
Yeah, right.
Tell us about that a little bit.
Well, they come around there at Camp Phillips. There was some prisoners of war, German prisoners of war down there. They had them down there, and I was one of the few there that could speak fluently German at that time, and that's what they needed, someone, that, because they couldn't understand English, so they had to find somebody that could talk to them in German. And that's where, and it wasn't too much different. Most of them was glad also, just like here now, to be out of it. They really didn't have to do any more fighting. They did, well, I had to keep them busy from our camp on the motor pool. See, I was in the motor pool in Kansas, and they had to wash the vehicles. And there was one guy one time, we only had trouble with one guy. He, somehow or other, he managed to get some water in the gas tanks, fill it up with water. And I think as for that, he was put in some solitary confinement for doing that for some time. Outside of that, didn't have any trouble with anybody.
Nobody treated you any different because you were from
No,
Germany?
No, that didn't make much difference there.
And this was during World War II, right?
Yeah, right. If one should have felt that, it should have been there, but I've never, except one time, there was I don't know, that guy must have been drunk or something. No, that's the only time in the military that, because I was German, that I felt it a little bit. And then the others, the other buddies I had, they come to my rescue right away. That's the type of people we got here. That one, like I say, he must have been drunk or something.
Do you ever hear from any of these people since your
No.
military days?
There's one time, yeah, you had it one time, wasn't there? While I was in Alaska, one guy visited us for a little while.
Oh, yeah, you were busy in the beet harvest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was a mining engineer, and he was kind of interested, but we was, we're interested in agates and that here, And so we showed him the rocks and that, and he looked at him a little bit and he said, that's iron. You know, that some of the colored rocks is actually iron. And that was iron, actually. He said purple or whatever it is, so I had to take his word for it because I didn't know nothing about it.
Do you have one of your military uniforms yet?
Yeah.
Does it fit you?
Well, a little smaller, but I don't know if I have everything yet. But I think my blouse, I still got that, and that overcoat, I still got that. You know where my overcoat is now? In the garage there, in that woodshed.
That is awfully heavy.
Yeah.
Must be 20 pounds,
Yeah.
or not more.
But at that time, I think they left the original buttons on yet. Now when you go out of the military, I think, don't they take the buttons out now from the brass buttons and put different ones on it? I'm not sure about that anymore either.
Are there any other national or international or local events that happened that affected your life?
Well, let's see now. No, not really that affected it, except voluntarily. We, like I say, we left the country several times and visited my old birthplace. You know, I've seen that even in 1971, I believe it was, the place where we was born. And the old, what was that? Wasn't that some pig pens in the back? Wasn't there some pig pens in the back there yet? During that time when we lived there, they still had them there. Can you feature that?
But they're not used.
No, they weren't used, but that time they did. I remember still sometimes when they butchered some hogs, they took a hammer and whammed them on the head. You should have heard the screaming of the pigs, you know, the way they butchered them at that time.
Well, was this part of the courtyard too then? At the apartment
At one
complex?
extreme end, at the extreme end of it.
For animals? then,
Yeah.
huh?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they shoot them? No. Later on they shot them, eh?
They might have been.
Years later they did.
Yeah, I imagine. At that time, I don't think they shot him. I think they
No.
just hit him on the head hard enough and then bled him, you know, after
Yeah.
that. And well, that is...
Who did you visit when you've been back to Germany?
Well, mostly my relatives and some friends that visited us here. And then we got acquainted with new ones since that time. So the last time that we got acquainted with, no, yeah, that's right. We went, that's the second time. When we were now, that's the third time we were, wasn't that we crossed the ocean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first
mhm.
time you were scared of flying.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
So,
And,
what relatives have you seen over there?
relatives, my cousin,
Dortmund.
Totmans, and Linda now, that was one of my aunts. They was cousins also, I guess. And on my mother's side, Milecki. That's a Polish name, but that's how they're named. And
Zisk.
yeah, Zisk, you know, Zisk, Anton. Anton we're not too fond of, Anton.
Do you have some pictures of these people that you visited?
Yeah, we have some
We get
pictures
those.
of them. Man's house, and they own that house. It's their house, and while we was down there, we must have they had us overnight in upstairs, probably in that middle window. And Franz Totman.
Now, who would they be?
They are cousins of Marie and of me. And
Yeah, it's a son from the
Langwalds, they're from the Langwald side, cousins. They're
One of
Carl,
huh?
just a minute. The younger sister, Tante Johanna, was here. And that is the son from Tante Johanna, from Aunt Johanna. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fons and me snorting a snifter, having a drink.
Okay, and this is in 1970-71.
Yeah, I think so. What is his name, Marie? And this is his in-law. This one is his son-in-law. He married his youngest daughter. That is. Say, Marie, come here a minute.
Hans?
Heinz.
Heinz?
Heinz, yeah.
And the
Heinz.
son-in-law was who?
Lütger.
Okay,
Lütger.
now we're on the next picture.
Who are the women in the next picture?
In here.
Yeah, it says,
Oh, yeah, this is Ingrid. She visited here. That sure looks like Ingrid. Say, Marie,
and
this is Dorley. And this is Rita. And this is Rita. This is Dorley.
That's
This is
Marie.
Marie.
We met him, yeah.
And is this Tante Johanna?
That is your father's youngest sister.
Yeah, Tante Johanna. And this is Ingrid. This is Ingrid.
She was here.
Yeah, Ingrid.
She was interested in all the relatives.
Heinz Totman, and here is again Dorley. And they're Totman. They're sons of my father's youngest sister, I believe. This is Tante Johanna. This is Rita, and this is Bernhard Totman, the father of.
who is Rita? Oh,
The middle one. That's daughter. That's their daughter. And this is the mother of her. That's the parents and their
So-
daughter.
Rita and Heinz are brother and sister.
Yeah, right.
And then
What is her name, Marie?
Sophie.
Sophie. Sophie Totman, and this is Alfred Totman.
That is the husband
Yeah.
of Sophie.
And this one must be Freddie then. That's their son.
What is the name of
Freddie.
Freddie, yeah. Freddie.
Mm-hmm.
They were not
Now
too
this
young.
is, you said, a sister to the other Toitman?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's.
To Dolly Totman. Is his sister, to
Here,
Dolly.
can I turn it back? This one,
And just say your name.
just
Sophia.
Sophie Totman, and
Wait,
Dorley,
Sophia. are-
Dorley, and what is her other name?
Sophie.
Sophie.
Sophie are two sisters
From Austria,
from Austria.
who
And
married
Franz and Alfred Totman,
two brothers.
two brothers. Mm-hmm. You can
Practical.
Willy Lindenau, and this is that's Trude Lindenau, isn't it, Marie? Or is that? Yeah, I think this is Trude Lindenau.
Yeah.
This is Trude Lindenau, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she died already.
Yeah, she died, and she was married. I think her married name was. You remember her
Was
married?
that the widow when she married that guy? Whatever.
Yeah.
Willie.
Willy and Gertrude Lindenau. And they are brothers and sisters. And
their mother is.
their mother is Franziska Lindenau. I know you haven't got her yet.
Just
I don't think we got her picture. And she died in, maybe 10 or so years ago, maybe longer. I don't remember how long.
That was your father's sister's
Yeah.
children then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Trudy Lindenau Kramer. And is that enough for this one? And well.
same person.
Mm-hmm.
Francisca?
I believe, huh?
Francisca.
Yeah, Franziska. So Marie, what is her name there? Yeah, Musilak. And she married, I think, during the war. And these two, they was like cats and dogs, that I will say. And this is their daughter. And I think her daughter, I believe Lizzie, she saw her recently, and she said she's way up there. She's really had a lot of training in school. Leah, she's my mother's sister. And the one on the right is her younger son, and and this one is her older son. And this lady is the younger son's wife.
Okay, it's Paul and Hans.
Yeah, Paul and Hans. Hmm. Yeah, didn't I mention it, that Hans? Yeah, the one on the left, on the right is Hans, and on the left is Paul.
And what's their last name?
Miletsky. And that's the one in the middle, of course, on the middle on the right-hand side, that is Ma's sister, Maria.
And she's the one that looks so much like Grandma.
Yeah, I couldn't tell them apart hardly when we visited them in '71. Yeah, one or the second one.
No, the first one yet.
First one, yeah. This is Willie, and this is Lena Zisk. They're children of my mother's oldest brother, Johann Zisk.
Johan's children too then?
Yeah, they're all. How many did he have? He had about. How
This
many
is
children?
Anton and Helena.
Good idea.
Yeah. What did you
Zisk.
say, Marilyn?
Who is Johann?
Yeah, this, like I say, this is.
Anton.
Yeah, this must be Anton here, and this is Shotzi, and this.
Helena.
Yeah, this must be. What is this? One of their children, or who is this one here? I don't know who that is, but that they had a
The third brother.
third brother of Zisk, of Johann Zisk, third son, and third brother to these here.
And it's Julius.
Yeah, that's Julius and
Tr-
Friedel. What is Friedel? What is Friedel, Molly?
Friedel is a name.
Yeah,
First
what is
name
the
of
German,
a
what is the English name of that?
Okay. What successes and failures have you had?
I don't really think I had any failures. And as far as successes, I think pretty near everything that I tried or was participated in, I can't say I was loser in hardly in anything. Like I said,
You put your mind to it and just
yeah,
did it then, huh?
That's a lot of it.
What does he feel is his biggest? What do you feel is your biggest success then?
I think the stock market. The stock market is the biggest success. It's really worth a lot of money, the stock market, you know, that I collected so far. And like I say, I won't say how much it is, but it's, I know it runs into 6 figures. And
Well, and you said last time that 2% of your income or something came from the farm, and that was it, right?
yeah.
So
I
that
won't-
gives an idea.
Yeah, well, 2% of what the farm was worth. That's what I meant by that. See, I figured the everything should have been worth, the farm and everything went with it, should have been worth $200,000, you know, because the house, when I had that house I built, and then the well made, that was $100,000 right there. That I can prove. And I think all the land that went with it, the door flat, this one and that nollie, that surely should have been worth $100,000 also. See, so you add that 200,000, and like I figured what I get for that, I don't think that even makes 2%. What it is, what I get from the farm, but it's 2%. That is, the farm makes more than 2% of my income, but
But the stock market's been good to you then.
huh?
I said the stock market and your knowledge has been good to you.
Yeah, that is, well, everybody asks me about the stock market,
Yeah.
particularly in Fairview or Sydney.
Uh-huh.
So,
Okay, who has most influenced you during your life?
I imagine really it would almost have to be my father and mother. And others' influence I'm not influenced so easy. I got a pretty strong mind of my own. So if I think that something is wrong, I won't do it.
Farming.
I kind of enjoyed farming. Why? Because I was my own boss. I could take off any time, a day I wanted to. I didn't have to ask if I can take a day off. And if they tried to influence me, I could tell them to go jump in a barrel of vinegar. That's
Did you ever see that?
what.
That somebody talked to you or wanted to tell you what to do, and you say that?
Yeah, I imagine I probably
Yeah.
told that.
Seriously? Yeah.
No, not seriously. Because when I say that, it's a joke.
When did you first start noticing your hair was turning?
Well, I don't know if I noticed it first or someone else or some of my buddies. But they told me when I was in the service, that was in 1943, why I don't color my hair. I recommended that I should color my hair. And well, I never thought much of it at that time. So, but later on I colored him. You remember that, right?
Yeah. How old were you?
26 years
Well,
old.
let's see. You were. When were you born?
1744.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
Very old.
So, and that's a hereditary feature of the, what would you say, the Zisk or the Langwalds?
Probably the Zisk. Because my father, well, he had a pretty good head of hair until shortly before the end, didn't he? And he kept losing them.
And do you remember when Grandma started turning?
As long as I can remember, I think.
I
probably.
think I heard that she was white when her last child was born, when Benny was born.
Yeah. Let's see now. She was born in 1894. Benny was born in 1919, I believe. 1919 and 6. 25 years old. Huh? Yeah, I followed pretty near the same way.
Well, I remember hearing she was totally white by 30. So maybe she started turning at 25 and was totally white by 30.
Who's that, Marilyn?
Your mom.
Oh, you remember? Yeah.